Liverpool fans were left stunned after a frustrating performance against Tottenham, as Dominik Szoboszlai reportedly told his teammates to wake up following the boos from Anfield. With Arne Slot facing criticism over his Hugo Ekitike decision and pundits like Keane, Jamie Carragher and Jamie Redknapp all reacting strongly, questions are now being asked about Liverpool's mentality and direction. In this video, we break down the full story, the key reactions and what it means for Liverpool going forward. Make sure to subscribe to Anfield Wire and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Liverpool news, reactions and transfer updates. Dominik Szoboszlai tells teammates to wake up after Liverpool booed off versus Tottenham. Dominik Szoboszlai could barely contain his frustration after Liverpool threw away yet another win against crisis-ridden Tottenham, with the Anfield crowd making their feelings clear. Dominik Szoboszlai has warned his teammates they need to wake up before Liverpool ends up missing out on a place in the Champions League. The Reds once again failed to capitalise on their rivals dropping points in the race for the top five, with both Chelsea and Aston Villa having lost this weekend. Liverpool could have moved up to fourth in the Premier League with a victory over a crisis-ridden Tottenham. Having taken the lead through Szoboszlai's first half free kick though, Arne Slot's side yet again conceded late on to throw away the win, with Richarlison's late goal providing another low point in a disappointing season. Szoboszlai could barely hide his frustration as he spoke to Sky Sports after the game. The midfielder has been a rare bright spark for Liverpool this season, but he is painfully aware that the Reds are still causing their own problems. That is a huge disappointment. I don't know what happened, I have nothing to say, Szoboszlai admitted. In the last minute again, I don't know how many times this season already. We have to wake up. I feel flat. We have to wake up, because if we carry on like this, we should be happy with the Conference League. I don't know why this is happening. I honestly don't know. I think in the first half we played very well. We controlled the whole game and they hardly created chances apart from one or two headers. Second half we just didn't. So the same things. We will sit down together and this is the most difficult time, but we have to stick together. The Anfield crowd made their feelings clear at full time as Slot's side were booed after another insipid performance. Although the Reds moved above Chelsea in the table, the manner in which they are giving up points is clearly testing some supporters' patience. I didn't hear the boos, but we can understand them, Szoboszlai said. We are not performing how we should. They should stand behind us because last season we became champions 4 games before the end. Everybody was happy. Support us in a difficult time. There is still time to show how much we want it. We have to stick together and fight for the club. Arne Slot explains himself as Hugo Ekitike decision backfires against Tottenham. Arne Slot has explained the surprising omission of Hugo Ekitike in the starting 11 against Tottenham. With the striker deemed only fit enough to start the game from the bench, Arne Slot has explained the reasoning behind Hugo Ekitike being dropped to the bench for the game against Tottenham. The French striker returned to the side against Galatasaray midweek after a much-needed rest against Wolves. He initially held up play effectively up front but struggled to make an impact as the game progressed, failing to find space for clean shots and missing a clear one-on-one opportunity. Nevertheless, fans were surprised to see Ekitike be named among the substitutes, with Slot opting to start Cody Gakpo up front and handing a first Premier League start to Rio Ngumoha. Andy Robertson was also spotted giving Ngumoha a pep talk ahead of kick-off. Slot later offered any explanation on why Ngumoha was starting, revealing that Ekitike was unable to train on Friday. Why now? Because he started training with us this season and he's improving, Slot explained to Sky Sports ahead of facing Tottenham. His game time has gone up, and then usually the next step is starting, and that's today. First of all, because he did so well against Wolves. First of all, because he's developing well. Second of all, Hugo Ekitike trained for the first time with us yesterday, but missed out the day before. But mainly because Rio has shown that he's ready for it now. He has to show it today, maybe, but if you look at what he did till now, I think the next step is starting, and that's what he does today. It was Ngumoha's inclusion that grabbed the attention of both supporters and pundits. Slot has faced increasing calls to give the teenager more game time, following a series of impressive performances off the bench. Calls that grew even louder after his standout impact against Nottingham Forest last month. Slot has to start Ngumoha now, Steven Gerrard said on TNT Sports in the aftermath of the Reds' 2-1 defeat. He's doing more in a small space of time than Gakpo is doing in 60 minutes. Ekitike replaced Ngumoa in the 64th minute of Sunday's game, with Liverpool leading 1-0 thanks to Dominik Szoboszlai's first-half free kick. Slot's decision to start Ekitike and Mohamed Salah from the bench ultimately backfired, as Richarlison scored a last-minute equaliser to snatch a point at Anfield. The result leaves Liverpool fifth in the Premier League table, 2 points behind Aston Villa in fourth. Tottenham, meanwhile, is 16th, just a point above the relegation zone. Arne Slot makes damaging admission and worrying Liverpool claim after Tottenham. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot admitted that dropping more points, this time against Tottenham at Anfield, was a major blow in the race for the Champions League places. Arne Slot has insisted that Liverpool will improve, but admitted his side only has itself to blame for another late goal being conceded, this time at the hands of struggling Tottenham. Dominik Szoboszlai's free kick was almost enough for Liverpool to scrape to an unconvincing victory at Anfield, but Richarlison popped up with a late equaliser, ensuring that the Reds dropped 2 more points in the race to qualify for the Champions League. Of course it's damaging, but it's how many times this has been damaging for us, Slot said in his post-match press conference. We don't help ourselves at all. It's so many times this season that we've created much more XG or chances than the amount of goals we score. Usually in the Premier League, you see a lot of teams outperforming their XG, but that definitely is not what we are doing throughout the whole season. Then a game still stays tight until the end, and we struggle to keep clean sheets. We haven't had as many clean sheets as you would want if you want to go higher up in the table. That's a bad combination for picking up the amount of points we want to pick up. Slot admitted that the boos that rang around Anfield at the final whistle were justifiable, and was also asked about conceding another late goal, an 8th this season in stoppage time in the Premier League. I think approaching a game has not so much to do with the final minutes of the game, Slot said. I think what you are trying as a manager or as a team is to outperform the other team in terms of chance creation. You always try to create more chances than the other team because usually that leads to winning more than you lose. So that means, attacking wise, generate as much chances as you can, and defensively, don't give away as much. And I think throughout almost the whole season, we've been on the positive side of that in terms of chance creation, because we've not been a lot of times on the positive side of scoring goals or conceding goals. How to approach the last minutes of the game, I think, if you look back on it, which is maybe not the nicest thing to do if you're a fan of us, but I've tried a lot of things. I brought in Joe Gomez in the last minute of a game to keep the lead at Fulham. We conceded. I brought in Wata Endo during the season to have that midfielder that picks up all the second balls. I've done attacker for attacker substitution, not to bring a defender in. We've tried many things, but the way we are conceding goals is also constantly different. So unfortunately, the things you can try to do as influencers from the side is in the defensive substitution or offensive substitution. I have tried many of them, but it hasn't led yet to us not conceding in the last minute. But we also have our chances in the last minutes of the game, even today. In extra time, we had an unbelievable chance that simply doesn't go in. But it won't stay like that, I can tell you that. Roy Keane hits out at Liverpool again as Reds branded bad champions. Roy Keane has branded Liverpool bad champions and believes there are bigger issues behind the scenes as the Reds sit 21 points behind Arsenal after winning last season's title. Roy Keane has labelled Liverpool as bad champions in a scathing critique of the previous season's Premier League victors. After a triumphant run last season, this term has been fraught with challenges for Arne Slot and his team. Not only have the Reds fallen out of the title race, trailing Arsenal by a staggering 21 points, but they're also scrapping to secure a spot in next season's Champions League. Liverpool's quest suffered a blow on Sunday when Richarlison netted a late equaliser, earning Tottenham a draw at Anfield. Dominik Szoboszlai had put his side ahead just 18 minutes into the game, but it was a familiar story for Liverpool as the ex-Everton player capitalised on weak defending to snatch a crucial point for his team in their fight against relegation to the Championship. Post-match, former Manchester United captain Keane criticised Liverpool's players for their performance this season, suggesting deeper issues behind the scenes, reports the Liverpool Echo. Considering they were league champions last year, I've said it before and I've said it a number of times, Liverpool are bad champions, he told Sky Sports. They have been bad champions, and they were bad champions a couple of years ago. They are now 21 points behind Arsenal. What a drop-off that is. That is so bad. I think there are issues going on in the background. I think there are bigger issues. They are details you can fix, but I think there is stuff going on. I don't know if they are all on the same page, and there doesn't seem to be that chemistry with the players. You are on about when you win big titles. Sometimes the big challenge is the following year, can you back it up? You can obviously have a drop-off, and City have had a drop-off recently in terms of their high standards, but they are still competing in second or third. They are not 20 or 30 points behind the team who is winning the league. That is a drop-off, but for Liverpool to be so far off last year, they lost 4 games. They have lost 9 already this year, and I find it hard to get my head around that. When it was highlighted to him that several of those defeats last season occurred after Liverpool had already secured the league title, Keane added they were slacking off a little bit and switched off, of course, but it is almost that mentality. And last year I was critical of Liverpool and I felt they were always partying too much. They were partying with 4, 5 or 6 weeks to go, and there were celebrations after every home game, and you are Liverpool Football Club. Are you not expected to win league titles? So when you do win it, enjoy it, but let's back it up next year. That is why you are playing for the big clubs, not like those teams who win a trophy and then disappear for 10, 15 years. And I will be thinking the same about Arsenal. When Arsenal win the league this year, I don't want Arsenal to disappear for the next 3, 4 or 5 years. You have got to back it up and not be 20, 30 points behind the top team next year. You have got to compete. That is your challenge. And when you are giving up goals like that, whether it was the ones at Wolves recently or even the game against Man City, I look at this group of players, their mentality and work rate and desire and what they are doing on the training pitch. And I don't like what I see with this Liverpool group. I just don't like it. Jamie Carragher names Liverpool player who is now real problem for Arne Slot. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot keeps picking Alexis Mac Allister, but Jamie Carragher says the Argentine is now a real problem for the Reds in the centre of the pitch. Liverpool legend Jamie Carragher says Alexis Mac Allister is now a big problem for Arne Slot, with the Argentine unable to get around the pitch as he was once able to. Against Tottenham, Mac Allister started well and was a strong performer in the first half. After half-time, however, he was a key reason that the game began to drift away from Liverpool, who conceded late on to Richarlison. The longer the games go on, the more Mac Allister struggles, Carragher said on Sky Sports. I think that's a real problem for Liverpool that they need to address in midfield. Curtis Jones comes on and the game goes end-to-end. He takes on the Florian Wirtz role, and I don't know why. He's not that player. There's too much space when the game opens up, and Mac Allister can't cover it. Liverpool was completely incapable of controlling the game in the second half, and it descended into chaos. Ultimately, it was punished for being wasteful by conceding yet another late goal. I think because we're not able to score the second goal, because that would immediately damage the momentum of the other team, Arne Slot said in his post-match press conference. But as long as it's 1-0, of course, it's quite normal that with either the substitutions the other manager makes, with going even more offensive, going even more direct, taking more risks, that can lead for them to create chances, which they did, but it also led to them being very open for counter-attacks. And then the way we conceded, we didn't concede our chances by being too open or being too offensive or being outplayed through the midfield or being too late with a press. It's just playing over the press, playing the balls into our last line. And if throughout the whole game we never picked up any second balls, that is something then where you could say, yeah, this is the whole game the same. But all the chances we had in the second half were when we picked up second balls and then counter-attacked them. The 3, 4 or 5 times during the game that we were not able to pick up the second ball, not clear it far enough, they were a threat. And that's probably the belief teams have now when they play against us. And I think we might be a bit anxious towards the end as well when we don't extend our lead. I think that's also normal if it happens so many times that you start to think like that. And it's normal that the stadium has that same feeling. Jamie Redknapp aims damning sleepwalking accusation at Liverpool after Tottenham mess. Liverpool dropped yet more points after conceding late on against Tottenham, with former Red Jamie Redknapp not the only one who could see another low point coming. Jamie Redknapp has accused Liverpool of sleepwalking into their calamitous draw against Tottenham on Sunday. The Reds missed out on the chance to move into the Premier League's top 4 and give their Champions League qualification hopes a huge boost, as they threw away yet another lead late on against a crisis-ridden Spurs team. Richarlison's late strike cancelled out Dominik Szoboszlai's first-half free kick, with Liverpool greeted with boos at full time from the Anfield crowd. having seen Arne Slot's side fail once again to capitalise on their rival slipping up and raise yet more concerns amid an already dismal season for the defending champions. Spurs' late goal will leave supporters with a worrying sense of déjà vu, with Liverpool having dropped numerous points throughout the season in almost identical circumstances. Indeed, ex-Reds defender Jamie Carragher could see it coming, and he wasn't the only one, with his former teammate Redknapp agreeing with his verdict. All game, Richarlison was a thorn in their side, Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk. He had a bit of physicality, Redknapp told Sky Sports. Spurs might have fallen on a system here with two strikers, Richarlison and Solanke. They're a handful, they were powerful, it wasn't pretty, but they had opportunities. It just became uncomfortable for Liverpool. The longer it went on, you thought they would get something. Jamie Carragher said it best. Minas, Liverpool was sleepwalking into it. Redknapp added, they go 1-0 up, they put their foot on the gas, they could win this game comfortably. Even the subs that came on, Hugo Ekitike has been magnificent this year, but he came on and didn't show any desire. I think that epitomised the performance. Mohamed Salah came on, did a few bits, but he hasn't got the pace or goals that he had last year. Everything just seems missing. When you look at that goal, that sums up Liverpool defensively all season. Individual mistakes, no one getting the second ball. If you don't win 2 or 3-0, you have to make sure you win 1-0. I think that was too easy for Tottenham to get that last goal. They're still in the Champions League race, but they have to win games like today, for sure.